Well, everyone, the Samsung Galaxy S8 is one of those phones that came out so many years ago, back in 2017, so I wanted to kind of showcase exactly how this phone is holding up in the latter part of 2023. Now, I'll tell you, much like I've told so many people now, I don't think this phone is worth buying anymore from the actual standpoint of using it as a main device, but I do think in some ways it might still be worth it if you want to buy it as like a collector's item or something like that, but otherwise I probably would not recommend buying this thing anymore. Now, if you want to pick up some other iPhones I would recommend buying, links will be down in the description. You get that from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the Samsung Galaxy S8 on the front, 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display looks very good. I still think this type of device looks very, very good and sharp for how good of how old this phone is, which is something that's very, very crazy. Some other stuff, it has kind of a little bit of bezel at the top and bottom, but it's still not even that much, and a curved display, which still looks very, very good. On the bottom, USB Type-C port and headphone jack. This was one of the first Samsung Galaxy S phones to actually have those types of things, which was a very, very cool thing in and of itself. On the back, glass back, single camera setup with a fingerprint sensor next to the camera, which was a very interesting addition. But overall, I'll tell you on the outside, this phone still holds up very, very well from the exterior. Maybe not the best, but I think Samsung did a really good job with this phone, and that's something that's really awesome. I still think the camera is also very, very decent as well. It's really not that bad of a camera setup, which is honestly very surprising. Of course, if you can take it up a notch, then maybe you can buy something like a Galaxy S10 that has an amazing camera. But this thing is still very, very good for what you're getting, which is a super cool thing in my opinion. On top of that, with the Galaxy S8, the software longevity is probably the reason why I look at this phone as probably not worth buying anymore. With something like the Samsung Galaxy S8, this is a device that I look at and I'm like, you know what, this isn't really like the best performing phone in terms of software, and that's why I don't really recommend buying these types of devices, because it just really doesn't make much sense. You're not getting any more software updates. The software longevity of this thing is behind, the best days of this thing are behind it, so I wouldn't really recommend buying this phone because of that. It's just not worth buying from a software standpoint. I think from a performance standpoint, this is another kind of layer to it, because although it's not like a super slow performing phone, for what you're spending on this phone, if you just spend a little bit more money, like $50 more, you can buy a Galaxy S10 that is substantially better than this thing, and it just makes a lot more sense to go and buy this thing over something like the Samsung Galaxy S8. That's kind of like another a layer to this whole entire thing, where I look at this phone and I'm like, you know what, it just doesn't really make much sense to buy this phone from that perspective either. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. I look at something like the Samsung Galaxy S8 and I like this phone a lot because of what it brought to the table. It was a very cool phone. I think it stood the test of time for a little bit of time, and I think those types of things kind of speak mountains of what type of device this is. But I look at a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S10 as so much better, and we're in late 2023. The fact that I'm even kind of comparing this thing against the S10 still just showcases how good of a job Samsung did with these types of devices. It is very cool. I like these phones a lot, but I definitely do think that the Galaxy S10 overall pretty much is a better phone than this thing. Even the S10 is kind of not really worth it, but I would look at a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S8 as being the overall better one in every single way. So I wouldn't really recommend buying the Galaxy S8 anymore, so just kind of keep that in mind, but that's kind of how I kind of sum it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.